Stephanie here with another episode of MFTv. In today's video, we are going to be creating a spring-themed card, and we're going to be using the Spring Wreath Stamp Set and coordinating dynamics, and then we're also going to use these two circle dies. These dies are from the Stitch Mini Scallop Circle Stacks and then the regular circle stack. So we're using the largest of the scallop dies to create our card base because we're going to make this card round rather than the standard rectangular square card. Just a fun way to use this stamp set because it is a wreath, so it will fit perfectly onto the inside of this card. Now I went ahead and cut two of these out since this will be our card base, and on one of them I cut a tiny edge. You can see I have a little bit of a straight edge there, and that's just going to be so that this will stand properly on the table when we're finished, so we'll get back to that in a little bit, but first we need to do some stamping. So for this card, I'm going to be using some various colors of premium dye ink. I have Latte, Cement Gray, Lemon Drop, and Summer Splash. I just really like this color combination together. And it might seem kind of weird that I'm stamping the wreath in brown, but it ends up looking really pretty when it's done, having this fun color combination. And it's kind of fun to mix it up and use non-standard colors when you're doing different images like wreaths and whatnot. Usually they're green and, then you have your floral image colors. But I decided to kind of mix it up a bit and use a color palette that I really like, and I really ended up liking it in the end. So I stamped the wreath onto a piece of white cardstock, and then I set that aside because we don't need it right now. What we need to do now is stamp all of the little images that we're going to add to the wreath to kind of dress it up a bit. So I have another piece of white cardstock, and I just went ahead and stamped all of those images. I stamped 5 of most of them, 4 of a couple, and then I used the coordinating dies to go ahead and cut all of those out so that we can put them onto our wreath. Now before we start to assemble the wreath, I do want to cut this into a circle, so I'm going to use that second die that I showed at the beginning. This is just a plain circle, and this is going to fit nicely onto the inside area of that scallop circle that we cut. So now I have their little wreath area cut out, and I also cut out a piece of fun foam. So this is going to be so that we can kind of have a little bit of dimension on this wreath piece when we adhere it. So I cut that slightly smaller, and I'm just going to set that aside until we're ready to adhere everything together. Now for the actual wreath, I have all of my different images here die cut ready to go. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment first because I don't want to have all of that bulk from all of the different flowers and leaves that we're going to adhere. I just didn't want to mess up the stamping in any way. So I picked the word hello from the same stamp set, and it fits perfectly in the center. And I went ahead and stamped that with black licorice dye ink. And now I'm just taking my tape runner and adding adhesive to all of these little flowers and leaves. And I'm just going to kind of go around and put them into the wreath. Now I like to kind of jump and do like triangular patterns on my wreath to kind of make sure everything is balanced. And then I like to tuck the little leaves underneath each of the flowers. So when I first started, I was just adhering the flowers directly on and not putting the leaves. And then I got a little bit smarter and realized I was taking all of the flowers off that I had already adhered so I could get the leaves underneath. So I ended up just doing each leaf and flower as a duo and putting them on at the same time, and that worked way better. So I'm just carrying on and finishing until I have this whole entire wreath area filled in. And I have most of the leaves kind of pointing towards the center area of the leaf. I didn't want anything to overlap or go out the outside area just because this pretty much fits on the card base, and I don't want to have any of those leaves hanging over off the edge of the card. So now that I have all of the images on the wreath and we're all done, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the fun foam. And for this, I like to use a really strong adhesive just to make sure that that's all going to stay together and nothing is going to pull apart. So then once I have that on there, I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to the back side of this so that I can adhere it onto the cement gray scallop circle that we've cut out here. So now I have this really fun circle card with this beautiful wreath on the inside and the sentiment right in the middle. And I have this really fun card base. Now to put the back onto the card, this is the piece that I had mentioned. I have a little bit of a cut there at the bottom just to give it a straight edge. And I need to also create a score line at the top so that we're able to open and close this card. So I'm just going to take my scoring board and I'm going to position that flat edge right along the edge there so I know that it's perfectly straight top to bottom. And then I'm just going to run my bone folder across the top edge there, just giving it enough space to be able to add some adhesive, just so that I can adhere this little piece onto the back of the card base. So once I have that done, I'm going to remove it from my scoring board. I'm going to use the bone folder and just kind of crease it and make sure I have a really nice crisp fold there. And then I'm going to use my tape runner and add some adhesive onto the top area. I definitely recommend using a stronger adhesive just because this is a very small area and this is what is holding the entire card together. So you just want to make sure that the adhesive that you use is going to completely hold that intact. So once I have that done, I'm just going to line everything up, make sure the scallops are lined up perfectly, and then I'm just going to press down on the top area of the card to make sure that that completely adheres to the top of the card. And then now I'm able to open the back area because we have that great little score line, so we're able to write a sentiment on the inside of the card. And then because I have that little flat piece, this is going to allow this to stand on a table. Now because this is scalloped, it probably would have stood without too much of an issue anyway, but if you have a completely circular card, that little flat edge helps to keep it standing upright. Now to add a little bit more to this card, just because even though we have the layers of the flowers, it is pretty flat, I wanted to add a little bit to the centers of the flowers. So I just used Nouveau drops. These are the silver moon dust. And I just added a drop of this to each of those flower centers, and then that is going to complete today's card. I really hope you enjoyed the video and that it inspires you to create a card in a different shape than just a standard rectangle or square. And then of course we have a giveaway, so if you would like a chance to win this stamp set and Die-namics that I used in this video, please leave a comment on the video and subscribe to our channel. And I will announce the winner in next week's episode of MFTv. And if you would like to check out some additional videos, please click on the screen and check those out. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.